Get out. The slap came first. Then the words. Zena stumbled back, hands on her burning cheek. Her eyes widened. But I thought you said. Think what? You thought I'll marry trash like you? You're nothing. You hear me? Nothing. She tried to speak again, but he pushed her, hard. She hit the floor. Her stomach tightened in pain. I have always wanted to have children with you. He laughed. Who wants a baby from a beggar like you? She reached for his hand. He slapped it away. Get out of my house before I call boys to throw you out myself. Zena stood, shaking, holding her stomach. Obina, please. He grabbed her bag and threw it at her. Then the door slammed. She staggered outside, barefoot. The rain had just started. She walked. She cried. She bled. By evening, her steps were slow. Her body getting weak. You don't want to miss this unforgettable tale. A story of heartbreak, survival, and a love no one saw coming. What happens when a poor girl is dumped like trash by the very man she trusted with her life, only to be found by a stranger who turns her world upside down? Sit back. Relax. And let this story carry you from pain to power. Subscribe, hit that notification bell, and don't blink, because you won't believe how it ends. Then behind the market, she collapsed beside a trash piled up. Her head rested on a broken carton. Her tears were silent now. Even the flies showed more pity than Obina. She closed her eyes. Then, brakes screeched. A black SUV stopped. The window rolled down. A deep voice said, "Who left a human being here like this?" Then the door opened. Shoes touched the ground. Shiny shoes. The man walked over. He bent down, looked at her face, and froze. The rain had stopped. But her pain hadn't. Zena lay still. So still, the trash beside her looked more alive. The man knelt slowly, his suit brushing against the wet ground. His driver called out, "Sir, let's go. This place isn't safe." He didn't answer. He couldn't stop staring. There was something about her face. Dirty, swollen, and weak, but familiar. Too familiar. Her eyelids fluttered. Then she coughed. The sound made him flinch. He pulled out a handkerchief and gently wiped the blood from her lip. She winced. "Who did this to you?" he whispered. She tried to speak. No words came. Only tears. He stood, turned sharply to his driver. "Open the back seat." "Sir." "I said open it." The door clicked open. The man removed his jacket and wrapped it around her like a blanket. He carried her, light like paper, into the car. Zena's head leaned on his chest. For a moment, she felt warmth again. Safety. Something she hadn't felt in a long time. Inside the car, she mumbled, "Why helping me?" He looked down at her. "Because someone should have helped you a long time ago." She tried to stay awake, to ask more. But her eyes shut. As the car drove off, the market behind faded. The trash faded. The shame faded. But one question hung in the air, like perfume and smoke. Who was this man, and why did her face make him act like he knew her? Something about her presence stirs old memories he thought he buried forever. The car was quiet. The kind of quiet that feels heavy, like something unspoken was sitting in the air. Zena's head rested on his arm, her breath slow and shaky. Her hair was wet, sticking to her face. Her dress was torn, muddy, and stained. She didn't even look alive, just surviving. The man leaned back, eyes locked on her. There was something about her. Something that made his chest feel tight. He didn't know her name. Didn't know her story. But the pain on her face. It was the kind of pain that couldn't be faked. "She smells like rain and secrets," he said under his breath. The driver glanced through the mirror. "Sir." "Nothing. Just drive." Zena stirred, groaned softly. Her body curled up like a child's. Then she opened her eyes, just a little. "Where am I?" she asked weakly. He leaned closer. "You're safe now." She blinked slowly. Why did you stop?" He didn't answer that right away. Instead, he asked, "What's your name?" Her lips moved, but the name didn't come out. He saw the fear in her eyes. Not fear of him, but fear of trusting again. It's okay. You don't have to tell me now. She nodded once. Then a tear rolled down her cheek. The car turned a corner. The night swallowed the streets behind. Zena held onto the jacket he wrapped around her like it was the last soft thing in the world. In her head, one thought burned. Why does this stranger care more than the man who said he loved me? But comfort doesn't heal overnight, and not all kindness is easy to trust. Zena blinked. The ceiling above her was white, smooth, clean. The smell of lavender floated in the air. Not the scent of trash or spoiled food, but fresh, soft, safe. She sat up fast. Her eyes wide. Her body jumped like a scared cat. Where am I? Her hand touched the sheets. Smooth. Warm. Purple. She looked down. Her wounds were cleaned, wrapped. Her dress was gone. She wore a big clean t-shirt. She panicked. Who touched me? Where is this? Her heart pounded like drums. Just then, the door opened. She froze. The man walked in. No suit this time. Just a plain shirt and jeans. Simple. But still powerful. Calm. You're awake, he said. Zena moved back on the bed, her back hitting the wall. Don't touch me. He raised his hands. I'm not here to hurt you. She looked around for the nearest object to grab. There was only a pillow. I'm not a good girl, she said, voice cracking. I don't deserve this. He walked over slowly and sat far from her, giving space. You don't even know me. I don't need to, he replied. I saw your pain. That's enough. She stared at him. Confused. Angry. Grateful. Scared. All at once. Why help me? He paused. Then whispered, because once. I needed help too. And nobody came. Zena's throat tightened. Tears sat in her eyes, waiting. He stood. You can rest. When you're ready, we'll talk. She watched him leave, then looked at the sheets again. Lavender. And for the first time in a long time, she felt human again. She wants to trust him, but the past keeps shouting in her ear. Zena didn't sleep that night. She stayed awake, eyes open, body still. The bed was soft, yes. The blanket warm. Her wounds no longer bleeding. But her mind wouldn't stop running. Why is he helping me? What does he want in return? What if this is just another game? She had seen men fake love. She had seen smiles turn into slaps. She had heard I care for you just before being thrown away like a rag. So now? Now she doesn't trust easy. Morning came. Sunlight slipped through the curtains. She stood, careful not to disturb anything. I walked to the corner of the room. Found her old dress in a basket. Torn. Dirty. But it was hers. She picked it up slowly. Her hands shook. Just then, the door opened. He stepped in with a tray, bread, boiled egg, hot tea. Zena dropped the dress, backed away. I'm not staying, she said. He looked at her, calm. Eat first. No. Zena, it's just food. Her eyes narrowed. You know my name? He smiled faintly. You whispered it in your sleep. She froze. He placed the tray on the table. I'll leave it here. Then he stepped back. I'll be outside if you need anything. As he walked out, she yelled, Wait. He stopped. Turned slowly. If I eat this food, what happens next? He looked at her, gently. Nothing. You just stop starving. Then he left. Zena stared at the food. Her stomach growled. She reached for the bread, then stopped. Tears rolled down her face as she whispered, Please God, don't let this be a trap. The tea was warm. The bread was soft. Zena ate like someone who didn't know when the next meal would come. Because she truly didn't. She finished everything on the tray, then sat on the bed, holding the empty cup in her hands. Silence. But her mind wasn't quiet. Who is this man? Why does he live so quiet? So calm? Why is he helping someone like me? Later that evening, she found him sitting outside on a wooden chair. The compound was small but neat. Flowers grew in lines. No noise. No shouting. No one else around. Zena walked slowly toward him, barefoot. He saw her and smiled. Feeling better? She nodded once. Yes. He offered her the chair beside him. She hesitated, then sat down, stiff. They sat like that, side by side, saying nothing. Then she spoke. Are you married? He looked at her, surprised. No. She looked away. Children? He shook his head. She turned back to him. Then what do you do? You don't look like someone who picks girls from trash. He chuckled, then stopped. I work, quietly. I stay away from noise. Rich people talk, she said under her breath. He looked at her again. This time, his eyes were soft. Not like pity, but like understanding. I wasn't always rich, he said. I used to sell sachet water under the sun. I was invisible. Zena's heart slowed. She looked at him differently now. But now, he added, voice lower, I watch people. Their faces. Their lies. She swallowed. What do you see when you look at me? He turned, eyes locked on hers. He said softly, a girl who's tired of pretending to be strong. It started as a cough. Then a small chuckle. Then, real laughter. Zena covered her mouth fast, shocked at herself. She hadn't laughed in months. Not a real laugh. Not one that came from inside her, not one that shook her ribs a little. He was telling a simple story, about how he once wore mismatched shoes to church without knowing. One brown, one black. And nobody told me until the final learn, he said. Zena laughed again. Then suddenly, her face changed. The smile dropped. The tears came. She turned her face away, wiping her cheeks with her palm. I'm sorry. I don't even know why I'm crying. He didn't speak. He just sat there, letting her feel. Zena sniffed. It's like my body forgot what laughter feels like. And now it hurts. He finally spoke. That's what healing looks like sometimes. It confuses the pain. They sat in silence. The evening breeze blew gently. Zena looked at the sky. Before he left me, I used to dream of owning a small shop. Selling biscuits, soft drinks, maybe even shoes. She smiled faintly. Not fancy dreams, just peace. He turned to her. Why did he leave? Her jaw tightened. Because he said I was dirty. Cheap. Unworthy of his life. Silence again. Then he stood and walked inside. Zena watched him go. She wasn't sure if she had said too much or not enough. But she knew something for sure. Her laugh was real. And it hurt, because for the first time, she felt the space where joy used to live. Zena woke up to something soft folded at the edge of her bed. At first, she thought it was a towel. But when she touched it, her fingers paused. It was a dress. Light blue. Clean. New. She sat up, blinking. What is this? The door was half open. She stepped out slowly, holding the dress in her hands. He was in the small kitchen, boiling water. Zena cleared her throat. Why did you bring me this? He looked over. You need clothes. That one you came in with is more wound than fabric. She held up the dress. This is too fine. I can't wear this. I'm not. You're not what? She swallowed. Not the kind of girl who deserves this. He wiped his hands and faced her. Deserve? Zena, you deserve more than just clothes. You deserve peace. She looked down. But I don't even have a life anymore. He stepped closer. Then take this dress as a new start. Her chest rose and fell. Her fingers tightened around the fabric. I haven't worn anything new in years, she whispered. Then wear it, he said gently. And look at yourself again. Zena went back inside. She wore the dress slowly, carefully. When she turned and looked into the small mirror by the window, her hand flew to her mouth. She didn't look like a girl from the trash anymore. She looked human. Pretty. Worthy. But that scared her. Because the last time she looked beautiful for someone, she was left in the gutter. Zena stood by the window, watching him sweep leaves in the compound. He moved like someone with peace in his bones, slow, sure, calm. But that calm made her curious. He never spoke of friends. Never answered phone calls. Never told her where he worked or who he truly was. Only kindness. Only silence. That afternoon, as she cleaned the small sitting room, she found a book on the floor. It had fallen from the shelf. She picked it up, old, thick, dusty. She opened it, and froze. A photo was inside. A much younger version of him. Standing beside another man. Behind them was a black car with a shiny plate. She flipped the picture. A name was written there. Just one name. Not his. So what is his real name then? Why is he hiding it? He walked in just then. She quickly placed the photo back inside and closed the book. He looked at her, then at the book. You found that? I was cleaning, she said, voice low. Sorry. He took the book from her gently. Sat on the chair. Held it like it was something heavy. She sat opposite him. Who's the man in that photo with you? He paused. My past. She waited for more. But he said nothing. Just stared at the book like it carried pain. You saved me, she whispered. But, who saved you? He looked at her for a long time. Then quietly said, no one did. Zena felt something crack inside. Even good people bleed. That night, sleep didn't come easy. Zena turned from side to side. The bed was soft, but her thoughts were loud. The name on the back of the photo stayed in her mind. 4 letters. One last name. It didn't match the one he gave her. Was it his real name? Was he running from something? She tried to let it go. But sleep came in pieces. And then, a dream came. In the dream, she was standing in front of a mansion gate. Guards shouting. Cars driving past. Then someone screamed her name. She turned. It was him. Obinna. The one who left her. He was dressed in a waiter's shirt. Dirty, sweating, begging. Then another voice came. Stronger. Behind her. The kind voice. The man who saved her. He stepped out from a tinted black car, wearing dark glasses and holding her hand. And someone near shouted his name. Not the name he told her. But the one in the photo. She woke up gasping. Her hands shaking. She jumped out of bed and ran to the mirror. Looked at herself. No one stays real anymore, she whispered. Everyone hides. She sat on the edge of the bed, still breathing hard. She didn't know what scared her more. That he had a name he never told her. Or that she was starting to feel something real for a man who lived in half-truths. But one thing was clear. He saved her life. And somehow, she was starting to feel like she didn't just owe him thanks. She owed him trust. Zena woke up early. The sun had not yet touched the sky. The house was quiet, too quiet. She packed her old dress, folded the blue one neatly, and placed it on the bed. She looked around the room one last time. The walls had seen her pain. The bed had held her tears. But her heart felt confused. Was she safe? Or just safe for now? Was this kindness real, or another soft lie? She tiptoed to the door, holding her breath. Opened it slowly. No sound. She stepped outside. Birds were chirping. The air smelled of dew and silence. She reached the gate, heart pounding. Then she froze. The padlock on the gate hung open. The chain loose. It wasn't locked. It had never been locked. Zena touched it, stunned. She could have left any day. No one forced her to stay. No one trapped her. She turned back slowly, and saw him standing by the window, holding a cup of tea. Watching. He didn't shout. Didn't move. Just looked at her with calm eyes. Almost like he expected her to try. She walked back toward the house, slowly. When she got to the doorstep, she looked at him. Why didn't you lock the gate? He took a sip of tea. Because I wasn't keeping you here, he said softly. I was waiting to see if you'd stay. Zena stood there, barefoot, heart full, eyes wet. And for the first time, she realized something strange. She didn't want to run anymore. The table was small. Just 2 cups. 1 kettle. A half loaf of bread between them. Zena tore a piece and dipped it into her tea. She chewed slow, like someone tasting more than food. He didn't speak much. He just watched her, not in a strange way, but in a quiet one. She swallowed and looked at him. You don't ask me many questions. He smiled a little. That's because I already see the answers in your eyes. She looked down. My eyes are tired. I know, he said. They sat in silence again. But this time, it wasn't the kind that felt heavy. It was warm. Like a pause in the middle of a long, sad song. Zena touched the cup gently. I used to think love was a big wedding, loud music, and matching clothes. He smiled. And now? She shrugged. Now I think, maybe it's just someone sharing bread with you without asking what you did yesterday. He nodded slowly. Zena looked at him, really looked this time. His beard had grown a bit. His hands had scars. His eyes looked like they'd seen war, but survived. She wanted to ask him everything. His real name. His story. Why he helped her. Why he stayed. But instead, she just said, thank you. He looked surprised. For what? He asked. For not treating me like a project. Or a pity case. Just, like a person. He nodded again, voice low. You are a person, Zena. A full one. She blinked fast. That single sentence? Felt more romantic than all the I love yous she ever heard. It was just a small drawer. Zena had been looking for a spoon in the kitchen when she saw it, an old wooden drawer near the sink. She opened it, expecting cutlery or maybe tissue. But what she found made her heart stop. A black hair tie. Thin, worn out. The kind a woman would use to wrap her hair in a hurry. She picked it up slowly. It wasn't hers. And she knew it hadn't been touched in a while. But it still carried a trace of perfume. Faint, soft, like memory. Zena stood frozen, holding it. Was there someone before her? Was he hiding more? The door creaked behind her. She turned fast. He was there, carrying a tray. Their eyes met. She held up the hair tie. Whose is this? He stood still. Then walked forward and took it gently from her hand. He looked at it like it was a picture. She was someone I knew, he said slowly. Zena waited. She died. Some years ago. She helped me when I was nothing. Gave me shelter. Believed in me. Zena's throat tightened. She loved me, he added. But I didn't love her back the way she wanted. I left to chase money. When I came back, she was gone. He placed the hair tie back into the drawer. Zena asked softly, so why keep it? He looked at her with eyes that carried storms. To remind me, not to take people for granted. Zena stood quietly, her chest heavy. He had secrets. He had scars. But at least, he didn't hide the truth anymore. Zena tied a scarf on her head and grabbed the broom. Nobody told her to sweep. Nobody asked her to mop. But that morning, she woke up and something inside her said, fix this place. Make it yours. She dusted the windows, wiped the chairs, and even scrubbed the floor with her hands. Not because the house was dirty, but because she needed to feel useful. But needed to feel like she belonged somewhere. He watched her from the doorway. Said nothing. Just sipped his tea and smiled. She didn't see it as work. She saw it as healing. When she finished, she stood in the center of the clean living room and looked around. The house smelled like soap and lemon. Her shirt was soaked with sweat, but her heart felt light. He came inside and handed her a cold bottle of water. You didn't have to, he said. She took the water. Drank. Smiled a little. I know, she replied. But I wanted to. He nodded. You made this house shine. She laughed softly. And somehow, it made me feel alive. They both stood there, surrounded by silence and sunshine. Then he said quietly, you can stay here, Zena. As long as you want. Her hand tightened around the bottle. I don't want to be a burden, she whispered. You're not, he said. You're something I didn't know I needed. Zena didn't reply. But that night, when she folded her blanket, she tucked it gently under her pillow. Because deep down, she didn't want to pack it again. Same market. Same trash spot. But everything else had changed. A tinted black car pulled up quietly beside the gutter. People turned to look. It was too clean, Too rich for this side of town. The door opened. High heels touched the dusty ground. Zina stepped out, head high, body glowing in a simple, fitted dress. No makeup. No loud colors. Just pure class, like calm fire. She wore a gold band on her finger. Not too flashy, but strong enough to whisper, "I am somebody now." Her driver tried to hold an umbrella over her, but she waved him off. She wanted to feel this moment with her whole skin. The market women paused. Some whispered. Some stared. But Zina's eyes were fixed on one spot. The same spot she once lay bleeding. Dirty. Broken. Now, clean. Quiet. But still carried her memory. Then she saw him. At first, she didn't recognize him. Bent over. Shirt torn. Hair rough. Holding a small plate, begging. "Please, anything to eat," he muttered to passers-by. Someone threw him a bone. He bent to pick it, then froze. His eyes met hers. He froze. Zina didn't move. He stood slowly, eyes wide. Lips shaking. Zina. She looked at him. Not with hate. Not with pity. Just peace. The driver came closer. "Madam, should we go?" Zina turned without a word, stepped back into the car. The door closed. The car drove off. And he stood there, barefoot, watching the woman he once left in the trash. Now shining like the sun. The car moved quietly through the city. Zina sat still, eyes locked on the glass, heart spinning. She had seen him, her past, her pain, her shame, standing right where he dumped her. Now begging for coins, eyes hollow, lips dry. Obinna. The same man who called her worthless. The same mouth that said she was nothing. Now? That mouth begged. "Zina, please, forgive me." But she didn't reply. She didn't shout. She didn't cry. She just got in the car and left. She looked down at the ring on her finger. The one the billionaire had slipped on her hand quietly, one morning before sunrise. No cameras. No friends. No witnesses. Just him, her, and the sound of birds waking the world. "I don't want noise," he had said that morning. "I want us to start with peace, not pressure." Zina had nodded. Her eyes full. Her heart ready. But today, after seeing her ex, she finally asked, "Why did we marry in secret?" He looked at her now, driving. "I didn't want the world to judge you," he said. "They would ask where you came from, how I found you. They'd turn your healing into gossip." Zina sighed. "I just wanted to love you without noise," he added. "Protect your peace. Let you grow." She nodded slowly. It made sense now. She had everything she prayed for, but not the way she imagined. And somehow, that made it even more special. She leaned back in the seat, whispering, "Thank you for choosing me." He looked at her and smiled. "I didn't choose you, Zina. You survived your way to me." It started with a knock. Not a loud one, just soft, shaky taps. Zina was in the kitchen, slicing fruit, when the housekeeper came running. "Madam, someone is at the gate." Zina wiped her hands. "Who?" The housekeeper hesitated. "He says he knows you. He looks rough." Zina's chest tightened. She walked out slowly and looked through the small side window. And there he was. Obinna. Dirty. Dusty. Beard overgrown. Shirt with holes. Feet cracked. He held the gate bars like they were his last hope. "Zina," he called. "Zina, please, forgive me. I've changed. Life has punished me." Zina stood still. Then behind her, her husband appeared. Calm. Silent. He looked at Obinna without saying a word. Obinna's eyes widened. Wait, you're the one she married." "I didn't know. Please, sir, I didn't mean to." Her husband didn't flinch. He turned to Zina. "Do you want me to speak to him?" Zina shook her head. "No." Then she walked to the gate slowly. Obinna fell to his knees. "Please, Zina. I'm not asking for money. Just a chance to start again. I was stupid. Blind." She looked down at him. The same mouth that once called her trash was now begging in the dirt. "Obinna," she said quietly. You left me when I had nothing. Now that I have everything, I choose peace. And peace doesn't include you. He wept. She turned back. Her husband opened the door. She stepped in. And for the first time, she closed the gate herself. Softly. Firmly. They whispered her name in the market. Is it true? She was once thrown in the trash. Ah. I heard she used to beg for leftover yam. Now look at her, driving tinted car like queen. Zena heard the whispers. Some behind her back. Some straight to her face. But she smiled through it. Because she knew who she was. They didn't see the nights she cried with no pillow. They didn't feel the hunger that bit her belly. They weren't there when she was bleeding beside flies and gutter water. Only one man saw her, and didn't walk away. And that man was now her husband. She didn't post pictures. Didn't show off. She didn't explain herself to anyone. But still, her story moved like wind, quiet but strong. One day, a young girl selling oranges ran to her car as she stepped out. Auntie Zena, I heard what you went through, the girl said, panting. They said you were once like me. Is it true? Zena bent low, held the girl's hand. It's true, she said. But I didn't stay there. I got up. The girl's eyes sparkled. So I can get up too? Zena nodded. One day, they'll whisper about you too. Just make sure it's for your strength, not your pain. As she walked away, people still stared. But now, she didn't walk like someone hiding her past. She walked like someone who survived it. The rain came soft that night. No thunder, no lightning, just the kind of rain that made everything feel slow and quiet. Zena sat by the window, watching the drops slide down the glass. Her husband came behind her and placed a shawl over her shoulders. You're cold, he said gently. She leaned into his arms, silent. Even after everything, the marriage, the peace, the comfort, some nights, her heart still felt unsure. Like a wound that healed, but still remembered the pain. He seemed to feel it. Because that night, he held her tighter than usual. No words for a while. Then, in a low voice, he said something she never expected. Zena, if I had met you in the gutter and still had nothing, I'd still choose you. She blinked. Turned to look at him. He wasn't smiling. He wasn't joking. He meant it. You don't love me because I'm rich, she asked. He shook his head. You think this house, this car, this ring is what I use to measure you. She looked down, tears in her eyes. I love you, he continued, because even after the world broke you, you didn't break. You still found the strength to love again. Her chest tightened. She wrapped her arms around him, buried her face in his chest. And for the first time, the words didn't scare her. Because they were said in the dark. In silence. With no cameras, no promises, no noise. Just love. The kind she never thought she'd find. Zena sat outside under the mango tree, barefoot, holding a cup of warm tea. She didn't need jewelry. She didn't need cameras. Peace was her new perfume. It followed her everywhere. Her husband sat beside her, reading quietly. They didn't need to talk much anymore. Their silence was full of meaning. It was the kind of quiet that says, I'm safe here. I belong here. A small boy from next door ran past the gate, chasing a tire with a stick. He stopped when he saw her. Auntie Zena, he called. Is it true you used to sleep on the street? Zena smiled. Yes, little one. In the rain. On cartons. The boy's eyes widened. So how did you become rich? She looked up at the sky for a second, then back at him. I didn't chase money, she said. I just refused to stay down. He nodded slowly and ran off again. Her husband chuckled. You're becoming a legend. She laughed. Better legend than forgotten trash. He reached out and held her hand. You're not trash. You were never trash. She looked at him, eyes soft. I know, she said. But back then, I needed someone to remind me. He kissed her hand, slow and gentle. Zena looked around. Birds, trees, peace. No more yelling. No more lies. No more dirt in her mouth or pain in her stomach. Just life. Clean. Calm. Full. And love, real love. Not hidden anymore. From trash to table. From broken to whole. Zena didn't just find a man. She found her home. I hope you enjoyed the story. Please take a moment to like the video, drop a comment, share it with someone, and most importantly, don't forget to subscribe to this channel for more powerful stories like this. Your support means everything. Thank you for watching this video.